Sid! No, Sid.
Oh yes! Oh yeah!
Right here. Right here. Proof that he's hard to sneak up on, right? Well, maybe if I just try this old human trick of saying, Sid, please, thank you very much. Please get you what you want, kids. Thanks, Daddy Sid. Today, let's hope that Sid, known as Cockatoura mollensis to scientists, Cockatoura interruptus. All right, what else do we want to see here? How about one of our TV stars? This was a popular one with the last group. I got an email yesterday, and I think this young man is probably on Earth Day, which is coming up later this month for anybody who's not paying attention. Participate in your local Audubon or otherwise Earth Day celebrations. But this guy's probably going to be on the Today Show with me for Earth Day with the National Wildlife Federation. He made 6 Today Show appearances last year, as well as one Martha Stewart, and in November, live with Kelly and Michael.
Whoa, Foxy! Zoom in as far as you can.
And he is one of 2 of these that we have at the Wild Center, and he is an Arctic fox. Now raise your hand if you have never, literally never in your life, laid eyes on a live Arctic fox before. You know what we call that one? Arctic fox is a relatively small member of the dog family, if you will, or scientifically Canidae, the canid family. It's not just a pet food, it's a classification of animals as well. And the canids encompass from the large gray wolf all the way down to the tiny little fox. The Arctic fox normally ranges around 8.5 to 10 pounds as an adult. He's a little chunky right now, but it's not his fault. It's not the fault of our care staff. It's just that he's just kind of wrapping up his winter. And last fall, as winter was a whole bunch of changes, your body kind of talks to itself. Your body communicates with itself not only through your nerves to like move your body and do your things, but also with chemicals called hormones. And your hormones are an aspect of your life and how you respond to your environment. So as it was getting colder and as fall was approaching, he grew this very thick fur coat and put on a little bit of extra body fat. That's for a couple of reasons. The body fat in the fur coat will certainly keep him warm during the cold winter. And he also, since during the winter there's not much food, instead of having food to eat with your mouth, your body always has to eat every single day that you're alive. So instead of eating with your mouth, you eat your extra fat. It's kind of like a refrigerator you carry around with you. Okay? Extra food stored very effectively and very densely. Okay? So it's very natural for him to put on some fat. Now kids, about 3 or 4 weeks ago, Coda got a message from outer space. He does not talk to aliens. Okay? But what was it in outer space that communicated with him? Does anybody know? Yes. The sun. It was not the sun directly, but rather the sun's relationship to Earth and the fact that the sun started staying in the sky longer and longer. Now understand, his natural range that his species has adapted to being in is much further north than ours. So like we have 4 seasons around here, spring, summer, fall, and winter, they only have 2. During the middle of the winter, there are weeks and weeks and weeks where the sun never even comes up. It's dark or very dusky all the time. There are literally months where the sun never goes down. So it's bright all the time. Okay? So he goes very quickly from winter to summer. We gain or lose how many minutes a day around here? Anybody know? Mom or Dad's whispering in your ear. Mom and Dad are like, oh, we play now. Wow. Does anybody know? Adults? Adults can play too. How many minutes a day do we gain or lose around? We gain or lose somewhere around 3.5 to 4 minutes a day, I believe, at this latitude. Okay? Whereas at his latitude in the Arctic tundra region, it's closer to 15 minutes a day. So if your days are getting 15 minutes longer every single day, or 15 minutes shorter in the fall, you can imagine that changes 3 times faster than we perceive it around here. And so his body has to change quickly. Again, the secret is hormones. So he got a message from his hormones have started to change. His fur has literally been released from his body. Dude, we don't need you anymore, so you can get out of here. Look at that. He's like, oh, thank you. Oh, yes. Oh, that feels so good. Oh, my bottom was so hot. I had a sweaty bum. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Look at that. Here we go. You can have that. The little keepsake souvenir. Okay. What does Arctic fur fox feel like? And before all the kids say, I want some too, no naked fox at the end of the day for us. Okay, have to pull it all off. Now, to tell you the truth, he wouldn't be naked, would he? Because this is just his winter overcoat. Just like when you guys have a snow day off from school, you put on your snowsuit over your indoor clothes and you go out and play. We have those indoor clothes underneath. So what he has underneath here is a short, dark coat. Kids, the Arctic fox's fur does not change color. The fur can't change color. Unless you like, color dyeing like your mom does with her hair to get rid of the gray or something. Okay? You can't, they don't do that, okay? What they do is they change their coat. So underneath here, he has a dark brownish black, thin fur coat, and so he will have much less hair, keeping him hot. The other thing is, if we did take all of his fur off, he wouldn't look the best, right? He's not ready for that because he's not yet in his swimsuit figure. Okay, their hormones, those hormones have to do more than just get rid of the fur coat or shed or molt or whatever word you choose to use. He also has to burn off that extra body fat. And it's the secret is hormones. Environment controls your hormones. And so in the next about 6 weeks, he's going to lose about 20% of his body weight. And he's not going to lose a single bit of muscle or bone. He's going to lose exclusively fat. Why would he do that? Well, because in the Arctic tundra during the summer, food is everywhere. Berries and roots and tubers and plants are available. He's an omnivore, so he can eat some plants as well. And of course, the birds fly north. And this animal here is the #1 predator in the Arctic tundra of migratory birds in the summer. And so, and you got to be fast. The birds don't want to get eaten. They can run and fly really fast. And if you're carrying an extra couple of pounds of body fat, that's going to slow you down. So get rid of it. You don't need it for food, and you don't need it because it's going to slow you down. Now, you may have noticed when he laid down that his feet appeared to disappear. Right? Kind of like those penguins, those daddy penguins that take care of down in the Antarctic region, take care of those eggs. They'll set them on their feet, and then it's like that big belly fat comes down and hides the egg, and the feet disappear underneath. Well, he doesn't have long fur on his legs, nor does he have a lot of long fur on his face. During the coldest part of the Arctic winter, he will just kind of tuck those down. All the rest of his fur will keep his legs warm underneath it. Do you know, the way he's standing, you can tell, I think, a little bit, that the fur on the front of his leg is short, but it's kind of longer on the back? So when he puts that part down, there's longer fur between him and the ice or the cold snow. All right? Now his face is certainly going to get cold. If it's 30 or 40 degrees below zero and the wind's blowing, that face is going to get cold. So what's the secret to not having your nose get frostbite? Yes, his head, and he might cover it with his scarf. He does have a scarf. Actually, we call it a sweep, or you would know it as his tail. That big, fluffy, characteristic tail of a fox, which a fox's tail technically is known as the sweep, is a scarf that he drags with him everywhere behind him and would cover his face to keep it safe in the snow. I remember about 3 winters ago, we got a big snowstorm up here in New England, and I went outside after the snowstorm, kind of clearing the paths and doing all that, and I shoveled back there because, well, it's good exercise for you, and the snowblower scares the other animals. And so I was shoveling, and I looked in his habitat, and he wasn't in there. Like, I didn't see him anywhere. I started to panic. I mean, my cortisol went right through the roof. I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm looking for paw prints everywhere and so on. And I started yelling his name, and all of a sudden, in the back corner of his enclosure, the snow moved a little bit, and 2 little black eyes poked out. And he was just curled up in the corner, warm as a, what's that old thing, bug in a rug? And he was all warm in there, completely covered by the snow. Thank you, Coda. Give Coda a big round of applause, everybody. Birds, though General Society does still call them birds,
I told you, I totally own you. Oh yeah.
It's weird, but birds are now considered a warm-blooded part of the reptile family.
Weird.
You're not going to see it in elementary school books. Your books here aren't going to change for the next several years, if ever, because most of what's in them is controlled by people in Texas. So it's not going to be super science-driven, okay? But if you go to college for, say, zoology, wildlife ecology, or anything like that, the college textbooks have already for several years considered birds warm-blooded reptiles. So how we think about reptiles as these cold-blooded, scaly creatures really needs to change. And kids, who knows the difference between warm-blooded and cold-blooded? Anybody? Let's see, what do you think, young man? Okay. We all try to maintain a balance with our environment, right? Scientists have this long word that you don't learn probably till middle school. It's a balance with your environment. If you're too hot as a person, you sweat. If you're too cold, you shiver, right? And those are basic things about our body. Because we're a warm-blooded animal, we try to maintain about one body temperature. You know, tolerable high if we're burning out a fever is up to about 104. Beyond that, you really need to see a doctor. But up to that, it's pretty natural, and you can actually drop down into the 96 range and pretty much be okay. All right, but this guy here can have his blood temperature go from, say, 40 degrees to 120 degrees, and all of that's relatively normal. Now, if he gets too hot, he can't sweat, so he will die. He can actually overheat and die. And certainly if he gets too cold, the same thing can happen, right? In fact, at 32 degrees, that is the temperature that water turns to ice. This rainforest animal has no way to survive whatsoever. This is called the boa constrictor. Specifically, because there are many, many types, it's called the red-tailed boa constrictor because there's often with some individuals a little bit of a reddish tinge to certain parts and patches of their body down in the lower third. And do we have any boa constrictors that live in America, like in North America, USA?
No.
Who says no? Raise your hand. All hands down. Who says yes?